Citizens of the Reject Nation, if you can look behind us, John, tell them where we're at.
We are at the Prey premiere, the 5th Predator movie.
And easily the best one since the original. And you know what's funny about this premiere? Today a movie got canceled. What movie was that?
Batgirl.
But what's still coming out that hasn't been canceled because it's that good?
Prey.
There we go. We've successfully promoted this movie. We don't know who we're going to get. We're at the end of the line, which means we're their favorite. They're saving the best for last. That's what it means at these press junkets, that they specifically want us to be best for last,
They
right?
want everyone to warm up, by the time they get to us, then they're ready to really rap,
That's why they put like Variety and Hollywood Reporter over there, because they're like, just screw them. Let them walk past them. They're going to run past Variety to get to the real rejects today.
Hold on. I got to talk to Greg and John.
We got Andrew Gordon here to do backup audio, which will not sound as good as this, but Andrew, say hi.
What's up, citizens of Reject Nation?
We don't know who we're going to get. I just hope that we at least get a background player.
Press junkets are like a box of chocolates, man. It's going to be good.
It's my favorite. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that means the world, man.
Do you always do red carpets?
No.
Are you LA local?
LA local, yeah. We're getting asked questions by Dan Trachtenberg. Yeah, that's John right there.
So sad to miss that, dude.
Guys, we're here with Dan Trachtenberg, the amazing director of Prey, a movie that I've told you guys time again, love the hell out of it. And I know we talked for a while on Zoom, but there was one thing I did really want to ask you, but we ran out of time, which was the Predator franchise has, of course, had some interesting journeys along the way. And now beyond Easter eggs, was there anything in particular that you took inspiration from in the sequels, or things you wanted to make sure to intentionally not go into the pitfalls of?
Oh, good question. We have this net ball situation in our movie, and that is, born out of a weapon that we've seen in the sequels. So certainly there's that. Predator 2 has one of the greatest movie transitions of all time, when you see the guy screaming and then you see that it's just in the Predator's hand walking away. And I almost put that in this movie. Just one of my favorite things ever. Really, I was looking at some of the errors that the movies, in my opinion, have made in terms of the creature design and the way it moves, and really hoping that we could pull off what was hinted at in the first movie, the way it jumps through trees and all that stuff, making ours feel as ferocious as it possibly could.
Do you have an extended cut of this film? Because I love the length, it's tight, but was there ever an extended version of this?
The weirdest thing in the world, this movie really wanted to be 90-some minutes. The first cut the editor put together was about 90 minutes. The first cut I put together and showed the studio was about 90 minutes. It's weird. I think that's because it's so much of it is action sequence. It ended up that way. But yeah, I'm proud of it being a brisk film.
Yeah, it's kind of got that Mad Max telling story through action kind of flair to it, Do you mind if he gets one question in with you while we got some time?
Yeah, I'll keep it at one. I've got a bunch of curiosities, but one thing I really appreciated and sort of started to pick up more and more watching the movie was just how much you embraced the title themes of Prey and Predator and all this sort of overlapping circles that put animals, characters, etc., in those different roles. How intentional was that? Were you going for that, or did that just kind of happen as you found the story?
Funny enough, per the last question, the script, we even prevised, the movie used to open on a fly gets eaten by a fish, the fish gets eaten by the hawk gets shot down by human. Like, it used to always open with that sort of hierarchy of the food chain, because the Predator is coming to a planet looking for what the alpha is, and our protagonist is trying to prove herself to be worthy. So I just really always wanted a movie to dig into the thematic weight that creature doing a Predator movie has.
I think you did a great job of that. Really quick, just one other thing. This is obviously like a big roughing it experience for your cast. How much in the thick of that were you? Like, did you jump in the mud with everybody, or were you kind of, removed for rehearsals and stuff like that?
No, I didn't jump in the mud. Short answer, no. Yeah.
It's good. Good. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Real rejects.
Hi, Amber. We talked on Zoom for like a few minutes. Nice to meet you in person.
I watched all your interviews, but I watched like your like compilation of it.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah. I was so curious about what other people said. So I was like, oh, how did Dan and Jane? How did you go to this interview? Yeah. Very well done.
Oh, thank you so much. We absolutely love it. Thank you for taking the time to come back also through this line. It means a lot. But since I already asked you a couple questions, but there was a couple that I didn't get to ask you. I'm excited. Let's do it. One thing was that, especially when talking with a lot of people here coming through the carpet earlier, they were talking so much about their experience working with Jane, about capturing a lot more of the sincerity and authenticity through the Comanche Nation. What would you say was some of the things that you learned the most about the Comanche Nation that you got to apply into this film, or a takeaway that you want the audiences to actually have?
There were so many things. I mean, learning, I think it was mostly like the differences between Comanche culture and like my culture. I come from Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota people. I'm enrolled at the Fort Peck Reservation in Montana. So, that's also Plains people, but obviously we're not all the same. They're different language, different culture, different practices, stuff like that. So like learning the things that we shared and then the things that were different. Like, for example, in the movie, they're hunting a hawk. And I was like, oh my God, what? Because we would never do that. But she was like, no. Or we share things like there's a whistle at night in the movie. And, that's like a big thing for both of our cultures. So getting to not just like learn about it and have conversations. And I mean, even like on set, Jane was like making outfits for like her grandkids. And like, she made like earrings that I've worn during press so far. Like,
oh, that's great.
That kind of stuff. It was just also like learning things like that. That's just like personal to my life that are like good to know or good to see, or, brush up on some skills. Like that kind of stuff was just like, to me personally, such a gift. And then, like getting to put things in the movie, or like brushing our teeth. Like Dan at one point was like, do people brush their teeth then? And we were like, of course we brushed our teeth. What are you talking about? And like, she literally like brought out a knife and like made a toothbrush. And she was like, see here. And then that's in the movie. And, it's not like, here, everybody, I'm brushing my teeth, but it's just a part of the movie. So like that kind of stuff is like, to me, so cool.
Oh, that is awesome. My buddy loved the movie too. I mean, he works with Challenge. Is there any chance I could trouble you to just get one question in with him too? Yeah, absolutely. Come on in here, John.
Yes.
Come on in here, John.
Awesome. It's lovely to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you.
It's great too, because when I watched the movie, I literally shouted, "Chew stick!"
Yep.
But I'm curious. I mean, so much of this obviously is very cultural and whatnot, but it's also very physical. And I know that you had to do a bunch of like badass fight training, but also too, you're just like roughing it out in the land for so much of the movie. Is that kind of akin to how you are in general, or was it kind of a challenge being so just outside the whole time and so kind of immersed in all of the elements?
No, I enjoyed it. I grew up like, I brought my dad a set of throwing axes for Father's Day like a couple years before this movie, I think, or like I don't know when, sometime before this movie existed in my life. And then this movie happened and I was like, oh my God, I've been practicing.
It paid off.
Yeah, so like, not for nothing. So definitely that kind of stuff. Like I just grew up like, my parents had a few acres of property and we had like dirt bikes and dogs and horses and things like that. So like it definitely felt nice to me to like be shooting a movie, and then I would just so often forget because like then being outside and interacting with like the environment and the elements just becomes like the thing you pay more attention to, and then you're like, oh right.
Well, that's how the movie guides your attention too. Like every time you fade back into just being in the camp, you completely forget about Predator stuff in the first place.
That was how I felt shooting the movie. I feel like we shot like 3 different movies. There was like a Comanche camp movie, there was like a Nadu solo journey movie, and then there was like a Predator movie. And I was like, oh my God, this is a Predator movie.
Well, awesome.
Well, thank you
we
so
good?
much for your time.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Hey, man, what's up?
Dude, what's up? Pleasure to meet you in person, man. I did not realize how just fucking tall you are.
I didn't realize how tall you were.
Guys, we're with Dakota, the most badass people ever right here.
Oh, dude, thank you so much.
Last time we were talking a lot about your musical influences.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I was curious about when you were making this movie, do you listen to a lot of certain songs to get kind of in the mood to prepare for certain scenes or anything like that? If so, like what songs were they?
100%. There's some certain scenes in the movie, without going into too many spoilers, in which Topic kind of expresses some deep emotions, And so there were certainly songs that I blasted in my ears. I remember one in particular. This was a song that I kind of heard at a weird time in my life, so it kind of always emotionally brought me back to a certain place. But before this one particular scene, I just put the headphones in and I cranked Viva La Vida.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, by, was it Coldplay?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
I know what song you're talking about.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't remember. But that song really did a lot for me, along with many other songs. But yeah, certainly played a part in.
Would you say that your character has if your character had a theme song, what would you say that theme song would be?
Oh man, that's a good question. Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line by Waylon Jennings for sure.
Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line.
That's a great answer. This was my buddy. You recognize it. So the trailer reaction. I was wondering. Yeah. What's up? I was wondering, could he ask you a question? He's a big fan of the movie too. We absolutely love this.
Man.
John, why don't you come in here? Thank you, Dakota. Appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely to meet you. Seriously, I watched the movie last night and I was blown away. And I gotta ask, I mean, are you an outdoor kind of person, or was this like a really big sort of foray into just roughing it? And how much did you kind of have to practice at the watching you guys build that the gurney in that one scene was like so clockwork and things like that. So like, what was the process like for the physical preparation?
I loved I love going out in the woods as a kid, so luckily that aspect of it was kind of enjoyable for me. I really enjoyed being able to go out like on an off day and just, I'm gonna go sit in a field on Sixiga, that's a res up there, just to kind of decompress. So I love that part of it. I think if I was on a studio lot or something, I would kind of go a little crazy maybe, for that being my first movie. It was a lot of preparation, a lot of work. There was a diet that they put me on to kind of make sure I looked skinny and sinewy.
You got the Hollywood abs,
Yeah. So that was like a little bit of that, but man, the exercise I don't mind so much, So it was fun, but different experience for me, for sure.
For sure. Was there a particular skill that you had to pick up that you're going to take with you beyond this experience?
Oh man. So one thing that I really enjoyed was shooting the bow from the horse.
Cool, dude.
I spent a lot of time riding, and when we were practicing, I would actually shoot the bow from the horse, and it's kind of a wicked experience. Whenever we're with all the crew, I'm not allowed to shoot real arrows, so they kind of CGI those in, which was disappointing for me. But
you still would have hit the target.
Oh, thank you, bro. I hope so. It was fun. Very
appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you for your time.
Dude, it's been more than a pleasure. It's
a pleasure. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I love watching your videos.
Dude, appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Hi, we talked briefly on the Zoom interview during the press junket, so it's nice to see you in person.
I'm not a little square. I'm just a big square.
Much more lovely in person. One thing that I did want to ask you that I didn't get a chance to on the Zoom part. One part of this film that I was thinking of when watching it was a part of the storytelling feels like, because I don't know much about the Comanche Nation, but it feels like if the Predator was plopped down into the Comanche Nation during this time, here's how they would respond. How much was the thought process put into that to provide the authenticity? And do you feel like this was like the most authentic representation they would do for this type of larger-than-life sci-fi story?
Oh, absolutely, because for the Comanche Nation, we have a mythology, and in our mythology, there's a monster called Pia Mupits, and translated from our language, that means big monster. And when it's described, it's almost like the Predator. This tall, big alien monster with small eyes, big arms, nails, grabs, is out at night. So it fits perfectly. We just screened it for the Comanche Nation, and everybody was thrilled to see that, and they were like, see, the Predator could be that Pia Mupits, and now everybody will be scaring their kids, because the kids will be like, you better behave or else Pia Mupits is going to come and get you, and now it's a Predator, Can
I ask, what was your emotional reaction to screening it for the Comanche Nation? What was your emotional response to seeing that?
It was very emotional for me. I'm an enrolled member of the Comanche Nation. I'm also Blackfeet. So this is the first time that our language has ever been in a new movie, ever, in entirety. Like through the whole movie, we have the whole thing dubbed in Comanche, which was an undertaking. And then let me just say, but also, just for Native people, when this comes out, the world can click that tile and watch it in the Comanche language. So this is the first time that any Native language has been out in a brand new movie, ever.
So how would you say that being here tonight, celebrating this movie here, is making you feel, just to know that all this this is being celebrated, and like the early word of mouth is so enormously positive. Yeah.
Believe it? It's like a landslide every time I go somewhere, and they're like, "Did you work on Prey? And what was that like?" And it's a Predator. We love the Predator because he has such a great fan base. So it's a really great platform to show Native people as real people, to not show us as a sidekick, to not show us as a villain, but to show us as a viable, real people that they love each other. These brother and sister, they have conflict like everybody else, brothers and sisters, because I know I did, and I'm sure most people do. So it just shows us more in a real way of life.
Yeah. Well, you actually answered my follow-up question, so thank you. My follow-up question was basically going to be about what would you hope that people would take away from this movie? Because I imagine that with the movie like Prey, you're like, oh, Comanche Nation, exploitation B movie, but then it's actually not that. It's actually so much more than that. And what are you hoping people would take away? And you just did that. You answered that for me. So yeah, you're psychic. You're very skilled. Thank you so much for your time, Jane. Thank you.
Great cameo too. I caught you. I saw the movie last night, and I caught you over Amber's shoulder, and I was like, oh.
I want to do that to leave a little trail for my grandchildren, so they can go, God, that was our grandma, and look. Well, actually, I was riding a horse in the beginning. When you see the two people, when Naru's walking up the thing going to the camp, there's two people on horseback. I'm on the left riding the horse. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. It's like we were in Canada and the borders were closed. I'm everywhere.
Thank you, Jane. Stormy, pleasure to meet you, man.
Okay, man. Stormy Kid.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
My name is Greg. We saw this movie, and no bullshit, fucking love the hell out of it. It was like insanely amazing. Like, we're big fans of the Predator franchise, and this is easily like the best, maybe the best one since the original. So I gotta ask, when watching this, the camaraderie between the entire cast felt so sincere and so authentic. What went into building that camaraderie leading into the filmmaking?
Oh, brother, man. I got some stories for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Kevin Starblanket, homeboy, stunt coordinator, Indian guy, right?
Okay.
He's Cree. Badass dude, man. He's teaching us how to maneuver, tomahawk fighting, knife fighting, working with bows. We had a 4-week boot camp where that's the only thing we fucking did. All right, we're getting deadly. We're maneuvering. We're working in diamond formation. We're learning how to peel off left and right without even saying a word. We got hand signals. We're like, stop. Bro, yeah, man. We're moving. And the sign language we're using is we're trying to connect it to actual Indian sign language that the Comanches used. So we're trying to use Jane, of course, Jane did it. She showed us, and I'm glad we had it. I think what made this film so successful was the fact that we had Jane, a native woman who is that tribe, who had knowledge of that, who made sure that this film was able to go far, because otherwise, if they did like a pan-Indianism, right, they would have mixed up concepts of what tribes were, and that wouldn't have made it as good. But the fact that, think about this, man. All right, one of the scenes, opening credits on the trailer too, you see Harlan, he has his arrow pulled back like this, hand over the top. There's a reason for that, all right? It's because when you're riding horseback, and if you knock it on the bottom, the arrow fall out. So you knock it on the top, you're maneuvering. The boys, arrows already in, keep on rolling, all right? And then we're working on like holding multiple arrows in our hands at once and firing. I kid you not. Kevin taught us how to curve a fucking arrow, bro.
Oh, really?
Curve an arrow.
Damn, so it's all real.
Curve an arrow, bro. Yeah. We're doing the legit. That's what made it so real, because we're actually doing this stuff. So when it came time to film, we already knew how to spread out, roll, and maneuver, man.
So you like, in the way how this story, the story is kind of told through the action, you guys kind of bonded through learning the action together.
Yeah. No, and also, man, we're actually Indians too. Yeah. They didn't do like a spaghetti western like they used to do. We're actually Indians, and it's in our bones. It's genetic.
So would you say a lot of these skills, were they more fine-tuned, or did you actually learn, did you know a lot of this before you actually did the movie?
Both, my man, both. Okay. Like, growing up on the res, I already knew how to hunt, how to maneuver, how to be quiet, how to sneak up on something. Working with the bow, something my dad taught me a little bit. Kevin Starblanket refined it, made it sharp. Tomahawk fighting, I actually didn't know. I've never tomahawk fought before, man. But now I'm pretty wicked with it. Yeah. Even with the blade, we're working some blade stuff. I had this old back in, I was 12 years old. Jim Harrison, karate veteran, right?
Yeah.
Went to Cambodia, old World War veteran, badass dude, right?
Okay.
Worked with Chuck Norris a little bit back in the days.
cool.
Yeah, it was like he's legit. Taught me how to knife fight when I was a kid.
Nice.
Yeah, so and then I was like, I already know how. I kind of have an idea. I got some good ideas how to do this. So I just rolled on over easy to films. Yeah.
Amazing.
So that's why I have a double tomahawk, man.
Yeah.
Both hands, deadly with both hands.
So, dude, thank you. Dude, you were fucking badass.
Did you like that when I jumped up on that log, bro?
Yeah.
That log was literally this high. It was like, it was about this high. That log was this
Looked
high.
dangerous as shit.
Yeah. It was literally this high. And I was standing there, and I was like, oh, man, I got to box jump this, because I got to make these guys look badass.
Yeah.
And they're like, you could just maybe crawl over it. And I was like, listen. All right, you can maybe crawl over it. And I was like, listen, guys, let me show you some true athleticism right now. What I can do as an actor, just beyond acting, some real warrior shit. That log was literally this big, fucking shoulder length. In the film, it looks smaller. But in reality, it was literally, I put my whole, it was a standing box jump, cleared it, and I was like, man, I only got about 10 good jumps in me after this, man. And that's the one where I jump up on the log and I walk over. And I'm like, what? Yeah, man. So, that's what I did, man.
Dude.
I tried my best.
It was a fucking pleasure talking to you, dude. Thank you so
have a
much.
good one,
Thank
man.
you so much, man.
Hey, you
Thank
gentlemen have a good day now.
All right. Take care, man. Thank you. Thank you for coming back. We saw this movie, and the only way I can communicate this is by just having a little bit of swearing here. I fucking love the hell out of this movie. It is so amazing. It is so amazing. So many of your scenes with Amber have so much of this like unspoken dialogue and history. What was the relationship building like with you and Amber with developing these characters? There's so much history without you guys having to even really talk about it.
Yeah, Amber and me immediately clicked.
Okay.
Sorry, I've got something in my eye, so just know that I need to cover it because my eyelash, it was watering so bad. Thank you. He's my Kleenex.
Handler for the
yeah.
day.
Amber and me immediately hit it off. We didn't really even need the time to sit and say, okay, who are you and me, and how's our relationship? It was like, I just think you're an amazing human being, and she's so genuine, and we just floated into it. It was really natural between us.
So you guys were able to just sort of feel it out, like it was real acting in that moment, right? Yeah.
I mean, I immediately adored her and loved her as a mother would, and we just had some really beautiful conversations between takes, and when we were just hanging out on set and in Calgary, because we shot this in Canada, and yeah. So I think with Indigenous people, we recognize each other, and we just know that, it's okay. We don't have to talk too much.
With this character, there was so much of this history hinted at with the father actually being gone. Was there any of that backstory that you would like to have seen be explored a little bit more, that perhaps you did some of your own homework on prior to making this movie?
I think for me, I knew the father was gone, but all I thought of is I am playing father and mother to my kids, and I really have to be able to set them on the right path. My son obviously would be, bringing in a lot of how we survive, a lot of the animals, a lot of the food. I just wanted my daughter to do what I did, which is, take care of the female stuff, and she just refused to listen, no matter what. I mean, I tried so hard to make her be a normal woman, and she just wouldn't. She refused, and she became a hero, and she just kicked ass.
I mean, you guys have wonderful screen presence together. My buddy here, he absolutely loved it. Can he ask you a question too? Is that fine? All right, thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Let me just wipe my eye.
You did a really terrific job in the movie. I feel like it can often be sort of a role to get stuck with, playing mom and whatever, but I thought you really came to life. And I was curious, obviously this, talking to everybody tonight, it seems like this means a lot to people, and there is a lot of culture alive in the movie. Was there anything you had to prepare for, or was it mostly things that you already kind of brought in from your own personal experience?
Well, I think I am a mother of 2 daughters, and I think it was just a very natural relationship with my kids on the film, with Dakota and Amber, and we just rolled with it. We didn't prepare with each other. We didn't even run lines, really. We just kind of showed up on set and just trusted each other and knew that it would be there. We all know ourselves as Indigenous people, so.
And did you have any trepidation? I mean, Predator movies are exploitation movies in part, and I think it would be really easy to just lay a skin over it, being like, oh, look, we said it, in the Comanche Nation, haha. But it really feels like there is an authenticity to that, and I was curious, having it pitched to you and finally signing on, how did that read on the page?
I was really happy to have an Indigenous producer on set. I thought that really made a big difference because everything felt really authentic. having Jane Myers there, who was Comanche, so she was able to speak into things, and I thought that was really important. It's not often that we get to show such strength in who we are as a people. I'm not Comanche, I'm Cree, but I mean, as Indigenous people, we're often portrayed as, savages or, stereotypes, and for me this felt really authentic.
It reads that way, yeah. Do you have a favorite? I'm going to crib one of your questions. Do you have a favorite of the Predator franchise aside from this one? Are you an action horror monster fan?
I am not an action horror, and I've never watched The Predator. I didn't even watch it to gear up for the film.
It's more authentic that way.
Yeah, no, I'm more into drama, like just acting and good, writing and stuff. And I'm not an action person. There's so many action films I have not watched, so...
That's good, though. I feel like part of the benefit of this movie is that authenticity really reads, like when you dip away from Predator things and just go into the life in the camp, it's like you really get pulled into all that stuff. So I thought you guys did a terrific job just realizing all of that.
I did not want to watch it specifically because I didn't want to lean towards anything from any of the past Predators. So I just thought, I haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to save it. So
it's perfect. What was it like to skin that giant hide?
Well, I've done that a few times.
This is just a regular day for you.
Yeah, in my backyard, I skin hide.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Appreciate your time. Thank you for talking with us.